What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Sage the Mock for It's Real Wrestling Podcast, special edition Wednesday. Both your boy Ben Goosen and Sage the Mark has some special things going on Thursday, so we couldn't make our normal schedule, but that's okay. Goose won't be here. Just forewarning you guys. You guys know what that means. A lot of rambling by your boy Sage the Mark, but I didn't come alone. I got a special guest. I'm about to bring him on. But before I do, y'all make sure to hit our website, irwp.us, get all of our credentials, including our Twitter at Real Wrestle Podcast. You can hit us up at Instagram. It's Real Wrestling Podcast. You can give us a call live because that's what we do. 419-777-IRWP. Hit your boys up. And also patreon.com/IRWP. No, that won't get you anywhere. Patreon.com/IRWP. There we go. So without ado, like I said, we got a lot of wrestling to talk about. But before we talk about that wrestling, I need to bring on my special guest. I found this guy at the depths of Instagram. He's got some great photos. Y'all got to go check him out. We're going to talk about everything. So I want to introduce to you the one, the only Soda Pop Hendrix, aka Soda. What's going on, Soda?
What's going on, man? I feel like I should just have like an entrance. I feel like I need like the Finn Balor, like everybody's arms go up at the same time.
I'm down with that, bro. If you want, we can put that in. We'll get you a green screen. We'll get you a green screen and we'll put that in, man. What's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Nothing. I'm ready to talk about some wrestling. I had a long weekend in Victoria.
Okay.
You know, a lot of driving.
What's in Victoria?
So I went out there for a live wrestling event, local stuff. But two of my favorite wrestlers were out there, Marty the Moth and Son of Havoc from Lucha Underground. Awesome. So I went out there, got to chat it up with those guys. Got some shirts, got some merch signed, and drove all the way back, man. But that drive up there was killer. Like the night before, I had like really bad anxiety about some things. I couldn't sleep. And then I was just like killer with allergies that morning. And I was like, man, but hey, if you're a wrestling fan, you're a wrestling fan.
You gotta make it. That's right.
Make the drive.
I gotta ask, man. Did you hit the Buc-ee's on your way to Victoria?
No. So I usually do Buc-ee's because I'm like a big beef jerky guy.
Okay.
But I've been trying to go vegan.
Okay. So what sparked the whole vegan thing?
So my wife actually was, just bringing it up. And I was like, you know what? Let me be her support system. And I was like, I don't got nothing to lose from it. So might as well try it.
There you go. I mean, nothing but weight. I mean, that's what it is. You're going to lose some weight.
I need to gain it, if anything.
That's what's up, man. So do you go to a lot of indie promotions?
Yeah, so anything in San Antonio, I usually make. Anything in Laredo, I try to make. And Victoria, that was my very first Victoria show. Okay. I didn't know about it through the promotions out there. I actually learned about it from the wrestlers that I went to go see. So I don't know if I'll go back out to Victoria. I kind of linked it up with the promotion out there. So if they got some good matches, I'll make the drive. Gotcha. But so far, it's usually just San Antonio and Laredo.
So do you have a favorite promotion that you like to go to, or?
I don't really consider them favorites. I feel like just because in the independent scene, a lot of the wrestlers, jump around. So I don't really think it matters of the promotion. I think it's just more of the card itself.
There you go.
That matters.
Support the people. Support the people you follow.
I'm a loyal guy, man. I'll follow you wherever you go. Just whenever I ask you to sign someone, talk to me. That's all I care about.
That's all you care about. Man, that's what's up, man. Truth be told, man, I don't do enough on the indie scenes. I definitely myself need to do that. I want to just eventually, I want to be able to interview like one of the promoters and ask them like tons of questions, because that's what you're supposed to do on a podcast. It's real. Gotta keep it real, man.
Let me know. I got a lot of connections, man. I got a lot of connections.
Hey, man. You open Pandora's box by saying that comment, man. You better be careful.
I got it. Let me know.
So, what turned you on to wrestling? How long have you been a wrestling fan, Soda?
So I've been on and off a wrestling fan since I was about like 13.
Okay.
So when I was very, very, very young, I think I was about anywhere from 4 to 8. I can't remember. My mind's like blank before 10. So I just remember waking up in the middle of the night and my uncle had left the TV on and it was Monday Night Raw with the roulette wheel and it landed on lingerie match. And that was my very first wrestling match ever. I can't tell you who the wrestlers were.
Not the bra panties, man. No.
Yes, that was my very first one. So let's fast forward to about 13. I again just kind of staying up past my bedtime, and my very first Monday Night Raw at 13 from a side of when I was younger was the Shawn Michaels return.
Gotcha.
When he returned at the very end of Raw. And then I kind of watched it through the CM Punk era. And then I joined the military. I left for a couple of years. So I really didn't pick up on it. Mm-hmm. And then I barely started picking back up on it, maybe about 3 years ago. But I picked up on it heavy.
Okay.
So I started watching stuff outside of the E and a lot more independent shows and going to like live shows.
Okay. Perfect. First off, we appreciate your service. Love our military here. So obvious follow-up question is, who are your top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time?
Okay. I feel like whenever you ask somebody that, I feel like when it comes to the E and independent scene, you have to separate them.
Okay.
I just think, not because they're in a class of their own, but just because I feel like they're 2 different genre of musics.
There you go.
That's how I look at it. I don't feel like one's better than the other. I just feel like they're in 2 different categories.
It's like rock and country, man. They're the same music, just one plays harder than the other. That's all.
I guess in a way you can say it like that. But so if we're talking about the WWE top 3 of all time, number 1, I got to give it for my man Finn. I'm a huge Finn Balor fan. I followed him all the way from Japan, the start of the Bullet Club. So Finn's on top. Over the years, man, Seth Rollins has really grown on me, like a lot.
Yeah, he stepped up his game for sure, man. It honestly, we have this debate all the time on the podcast, and I think in the IWC community in itself, there's this notion that Triple H puts out. And maybe some other people in that same circle do that too, that we picked Roman Reigns as the guy out of the 3. But I don't know about you, man. I always betted on Rollins, bro. Like
I look at it like this. If you're going to tell me that you think Roman Reigns is the Beyonce of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think he's like the bottom of the barrel of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I feel you, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me explain to you why.
Pre-soda, tell him.
Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, when I look at a wrestler, I want to see a complete wrestler. And I think there's 3 things that you need in order to be a complete wrestler. You need character, you need promo, and you need to actually learn how to wrestle. Whenever I watch a Roman Reigns match, I feel like he wrestles the exact same in every match. I feel like he loses his character once he starts wrestling. And his promos are garbage, bro. Garbage. Don't get me wrong. He's a hard worker. Hey, man. He goes out there every week.
You ain't gonna rant like somebody from New York, are you?
Hey, man.
I'm just saying, man. No hate. I'm just saying.
It's not hate. It's just
I feel you, man.
That's just my opinion. But my 3rd favorite wrestler, I would have to say, is Alexa Bliss.
Woo! Yo, speaking my language. I like the way you think, so tell him why. Tell him why, son. Tell him why.
The reason why is I think she's the top heel in the company at this point in time. Her promos.
No arguments.
I don't think any female on the female roster can touch her promos. And I think it's because she got lucky with the character that the E built for her, or if she built it with creative together. But I feel like just her character, she got lucky because it matches her look.
Yeah.
She looks like those mean rock and roll girls in middle school that talk crap to you in gym class because they got their period a year before you did.
Yeah,
That's
man.
how she acts, and that's how she wrestles. And her character is amazing when she wrestles. She stays in character the whole match. I've never seen a bad Alexa Bliss match, even if it's a squash match.
I feel you, man. To be honest with you, Soda, I think that she's the not just the top heel in the E, but from a mic skill perspective, and Goose and I have this conversation all the time. I put her at 1 and 2 between her, The Miz, and Paul Heyman on the mic. And I know that's saying a lot, man. I know that's
It
saying a
is,
lot.
but I can't disagree either because well, I'll top if you're gonna put those three in front of me, I'm gonna say the Miz is off top. And let me explain to you why. The Miz is off top because that is what took Miz to be the star that he is.
I
It wasn't
agree.
his wrestling skills. But I'm not taking away the fact that he's not a good wrestler. He's a great wrestler. But the fact that he went from the real world talking crap
Yeah.
and being a good promo on MTV to still
Yep.
being a good promo almost a whole decade later on the USA Network for so long, I feel like that's just that level of mic skill can't be taught.
I agree.
And
But
if you notice Paul Heyman, he's kind of grown in the way he talks, where the Miz has been consistent since day one.
definitely. And I think the Miz is he's honed his craft. Paul Heyman, I mean, he's had that longevity. So I mean, he's been able to really get to that point of that legendary status just over the time between him being in, pre ECW, ECW, and then coming up the ranks in the E. But the reason why I say Alexa Bliss, and it's 1 and 2, between her and the Miz for sure, and
For sure.
it's one for the reason that you stated for the Miz, but from Alexa's standpoint, man, seeing her grow in NXT has just been amazing. She came through as a cheerleader, getting squashed left and right. Then
But they
all of
were
a
great
sudden,
matches.
they were. Her match with Charlotte was top notch. And then they put her as a valet to Blake and Murphy and turn her heel, and like it just she revitalized the role of a manager or a valet. And once they gave her the mic, they knew that her time in NXT had to cut. They had to cut it. They had to put her on the main roster, and she legitimately carried SmackDown and Raw on her back for almost 2 years straight for the women's division. Despite, maybe other wrestlers being better in the ring, like she literally carried the division. Her segments were always top notch. So that's why I always put her in the 1 and 2 spot between her and the Miz.
Yep. But just
So
like you said right now, how a lot of other females are better in the ring, and that's what a lot of people's defense is when you say Alexa Bliss is at the top of the women's division. Aside from Charlotte, Charlotte would be the other person. I'm not a really big Charlotte fan, but I give respect where respect's due, and I feel like her and Charlotte are 1-1.
nah,
Just be
negative,
bro, yes.
son. Negative,
yes.
son.
I feel like because we're one lax.
It's Asuka, and then it's Asuka, and then it's Sasha, and then it's Charlotte, bro. Come on, man.
No, because I feel like the E has botched Asuka.
Now, are you saying that because she lost her match to Charlotte?
No, I'm
Okay.
saying that because they gave her a streak to begin with.
Okay.
I feel like when you have a streak, you build yourself into a corner. And usually when a streak is ended, that person is written off of TV for a while, so we get the chance to miss them for their return. With the understanding that they do lose at times. Now when I see Asuka and her streaks ended and she's still on TV, I feel like the next time I see Asuka lose, it just brings all of her wrestling credit down so much.
So let me ask you this. Like her wrestling, I don't think anyone could dispute. I mean, even PWI has her like in the top 10 and above
No,
Charlotte.
her wrestling's great. It's her booking character that really bothers me.
Do you think that, and we only got a glimpse of this while she was in NXT, do you think that the value of her will go up once she eventually turns heel?
No.
So you'll be less interested in her if she turns heel,
I
and there's no
think
way of
her
recovery
turning
for Asuka.
I think her turning heel is not what we need.
Okay.
I think it's like what I said. I think we just need to miss Asuka.
We need to miss her. Okay.
I think give her like three months, write her off for a little bit, maybe bring her back feuding with, man, you know who I would really like to see her feud with?
Who you got, Soda?
I really want to see her feud with Bailey.
That
And
would be good.
Let me
That would be
explain
some
this.
WrestleMania stuff right there, son. Talking WrestleMania.
But think about it. We write her off. Let's say this month's already started. So they already have plans for this month. Let's write her off next month. Give her 3 months. That's enough time to build a proper build towards either a Royal Rumble or WrestleMania.
Okay. I feel you. So the only problem that I would have with that matchup is it's kind of like you said, you can't see Asuka being a heel, and Bailey's character has just been through the ringer.
And that's why I think it would be great if we rip both of them off, because I think Bailey needs to go too. But when Bailey comes back, I think she just needs a whole character revamp.
I agree.
I think what worked in NXT and the way they booked her when she came to the main roster, I think it just tarnished her character.
Do you think she might have been overshadowed by everybody else on the roster, and the fact that they had her so involved with Sasha with no real payoff? You think that's
yeah? I feel like they gave them the Good Brothers effect.
Gotcha.
They did to her what they did to Carl and Anderson. They're one of I think they're one of the most talented tag teams that are on the division, and they're not being utilized. But the only thing they get utilized for is for being Finn Balor or even AJ Styles' is backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that only gets a pop because of the New Japan stuff. It doesn't even get a pop because it's a true, genuine, relationship that's being given to us from the E. It's kind of like, oh, y'all got this before. We know y'all like it. Here it is for the main event. Deal with it.
Yeah. Hashtag hot Asian wife. It would be good to see. It would be good to see Carl Anderson have a singles run. I mean, I don't want him to completely break apart or anything like that. But I get you, man. Change a little gears.
They just need to be like the Hardy Brothers. Just to add a quick note, I think they just need to be like the Hardy Brothers. They do their own thing, but whenever they come back for a tag team match, it's like they never left.
Yeah, or they could just from this point on let them do their own thing until Survivor Series comes around. Then you can have a BC versus Sanity versus AOP plus Roderick Strong if he ever gets called up or something like that. Have that little Survivor Series or War Games kind of atmosphere. So, but changing gears a little bit, and speaking of multi-man matches, the greatest Royal Rumble was last Friday. Did you watch it? When did you watch it? And how did you feel about it?
I watched it live. And leading up to this point, I was like, man, I really don't want to watch it because I feel like nothing's really going to happen.
Okay. And
to my surprise, nothing really did happen. It was botchamania to me.
Botchamania.
That's what it was. I feel like it was WWE's way of saying, like, let's do WrestleMania all over again.
Okay.
In the middle. It's like, how there's Christmas in July? That's what they were doing. WrestleMania happened, but let's forget that. Let's do this. And I just feel like it was honestly pointless. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those old European only pay-per-views that they used to do back in the day, where they didn't really mean nothing, but they had them just to have them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would have been great if we had out of continuity matches.
What do you mean by that?
So a
Like
lot
house
of the
shows?
matches that were going into it were WrestleMania rematches or WrestleMania redos or Monday night
Okay.
after WrestleMania redos. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're getting that at Backlash.
True.
So why are we getting it a week before?
So you're saying that you would rather have like for something like that, because this is kind of a one-off kind of thing, kind of a test
Mm-hmm.
experiment, and apparently it's going to be going on for the next 10 years. Um, so what you're saying is that you probably would have seen as though this was so close to WrestleMania, you probably would have wanted it to be booked more like a house show instead of storyline driven. So that way the matchups are different.
Basically. And I feel like if
Okay.
that would have happened, I feel like the card would have been better
Hmm.
because it's stuff that you wouldn't see at the time that we're seeing it. You know, we see Seth and Finn already feuding. We see, the belts already going back and forth. We see the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So it's like if we're still getting that, give us a break for a little bit.
There
Give
you
me
go.
something else. Give me like Brock versus Lashley one time. Just to do it. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah, and I honestly I think that that was one of the reasons why. What was it? It was either Survivor Series or the pay per view right after Survivor Series where everybody got like the mumps.
yeah.
And they had changed every card, and no card was really, you had AJ versus Brock, which was an amazing match. Um, who else would we have? I can't remember everyone that was on that particular card, but yeah, I agree, man. It's going to be interesting though, considering going forward, all of the pay per views are going to be combined. I'm still not completely sold on that. Just because I feel like there's the mid carders are really going to take the hit in terms of
Hmm.
TV time, and I don't feel that they're going to get as much love on the main roster. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be like every other week they show up or something, which I would be completely fine with. But how do you feel about the how do you feel about the combined pay per views?
So I think it's a good and I think it's a bad thing. And I think the only reason why it's a good thing is because I feel like we can get a quality pay per view for what we pay
Hmm.
for, in the long run. Even though if you have the E network, it's only $10 a month. So it's like, eh. But still, you know what I mean? You pay for it. So you still want quality out of it. So I think that quality pay per views can come out of it. The only thing that I don't like is if you have a brand split, you can't have a co ed pay per view.
This is true.
Like if you're gonna have a co-ed pay-per-view, let's kill the brand split like back in the day and just run storylines all day long and you don't know what match is gonna happen on what night. I'd rather have it like that.
I agree. Well, I like the brand split, but I agree with your notion. I just feel like creative struggles as it is trying to keep things separated. And one of the problems with having them together is that they weren't able to consistently come up with stagnant storylines for individual characters. So,
Mhm.
um, I don't know, and this is just me, but I don't know if I trust the writing staff to ever go back to that type of model. And you also have to factor in we combine them all together, everyone's going to get fed to Roman, which we already have our issues with that.
Oh my God. 4 years wasted. I feel like at this point, don't even we'll get into Roman later when we do, some raw review and stuff, but or when we get even to his
Yeah,
match.
when we get to
Um
his match. Yeah, let's go into the other matches on the Greatest Royal Rumble. We won't go into all of them, but the notable matches are probably the ladder match. How'd you like the ladder match?
okay, so let's talk about the ladder match, okay? So when it comes to the ladder match, I'm a Finn fan. I've jumped. And like I said, Roman has actually been growing on me. So I mean not Roman, Rollins. So when it actually comes to them two always being in the ring, I always know it's gonna be exciting.
Hmm.
I always know it's gonna be exciting. So this match I think had a really good build. And I think it had a really good build because it came from the three aspects of wrestling that I talked about. You had
Okay.
a really good promo build up because of the Miz. And then you
The
know
man
that you're
can
going
talk.
to have the man can talk. then you know that you're going to have the quality in ring wrestling just from the other three that are in the match. You know, and then all three of them are great characters in their own. So I knew it was going to be a hell of a match, man. I'm disappointed the way it came out, but I understand the way it came out. I prefer the way it came out, but you know, I'm always going to be a Finn fan. So, of course, I was rooting for my man.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. And I'm with you as well, man. All four competitors that were in the ring were amazing. Especially, you know, Miz building up the match. This guy is a Hall of Famer, for sure. I can't wait to hear his Hall of Fame speech when we get to that point. But I especially, like most people, enjoyed the way that it ended. You know, I don't think it was too much a surprise that Rollins retained. You know, the shock factor for me was, and I actually bet on the Miz winning. I thought that it would have been an interesting dynamic and an interesting story to have both the Intercontinental belt and the U.S. title on the same roster, even if it was just for 1 week. I thought that would have been interesting, and that's kind of the reason why I went with that. But I absolutely loved, you know, Rollins slingshotting off the top rope onto the ladder, and Finn, and he sold the hell out of the shock value of what was going on, and kind of overcome with, you know, anxiety that, you know, this man just jumped half the ladder to climb up and take it from me. So I respect that, man. The ring psychology in this match was just kind of top notch. And I loved it. I can't say the same thing though about the Undertaker and Rusev match, but
this is one thing I have a problem with when it comes to the WWE. If you give a retirement speech, you're retired. I don't want to see you no more. Mickie James, in the past 2 years, has had 2 retirement speeches.
Yeah,
I don't want to see her no more. Natalya had a retirement speech. I don't want to see her no more. The Undertaker has had, now to date, 3 retirement ceremonies. I don't want to see him no more.
I hear you, man. I mean, there is one exception though, man. Pink coat, bro. Pink coat ever comes on, man. That's the only retirement speech I'll allow. Mark Henry, man.
I understand, but like I said, when it comes to the Undertaker, I just feel like you can't keep beating us with you can't keep feeding us the same thing over and over and over. Like WrestleMania is never going to evolve if we can't let go of Triple H, if we can't let go of John Cena, and if we can't let go of the Undertaker. WrestleMania will never evolve.
So why do you think that we can't get? Like, why do you think that they keep appearing year after year after year?
I think they feel. I think I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. I think that there's just a little misviewing of the future of WWE between Triple H and Vince.
Okay.
I feel like Triple H is really trying to put on a great. I always like to say it like this: Triple H makes the WWE for wrestling fans, whereas Vince makes WWE for mainstream America. So everybody knows who John Cena is, everybody knows who Triple H is, and everybody knows who Undertaker is. So I think the only reason why we keep seeing them year and year and year and year again is because if you take those 3 away, what mainstream attraction do you have for WrestleMania?
Gotcha.
But now that we have Ronda Rousey, I hope all of that will change.
Yeah, just as long as she doesn't wrestle a Brock schedule, I think we're gonna be okay, man. I'm so tired of that Universal title. Like, the creation of the Universal title has just been atrocious, man. It's a novelty title. It doesn't really mean anything.
Can we get it back to Finn? I mean, he works hard.
Hey, man, Curtis Axel didn't lose his first Royal Rumble, man. So I think he should get a shot. I'm just saying.
Hey! Don't get me started on that, because if we want to go there, Hornswoggle won the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he did.
Because he never got thrown over the top rope. He never got thrown over the top rope, man. Botchamania.
That's 2, man. They did it twice.
I'm telling you.
So before we get into the universal title, what'd you think about the main event?
The Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I think it was good. I think the way it ended was great. Um, I just I wish we just didn't bring back some of those legends, man. I hate when I like when they bring back some legends, but I think sometimes it's just irritating as well. Just because we could be doing so much more exciting things, like bringing up more NXT guys. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Or bringing just like some weird out of the blue stuff that really makes the spot. If you're gonna bring a legend back, make sure that they play a role into the actual Rumble. Don't just bring a Mac so they can get thrown out in three minutes. You know what I mean?
But wouldn't you be afraid that if they did something like that, that it would create a broken storyline? Like, say, like for instance, Rey Mysterio throws out Daniel Bryan, and then we don't see Rey Mysterio for another 2 years.
Yeah, but that's the name of the game that makes the storyline more realistic because it's like, hey, he's a legend. You should have been watching your back.
So, like adding more prestige to the Royal Rumble event.
Yeah, because
Okay.
now it's like that right there. You don't need Rey Mysterio to build a storyline from there. Let's say that happens. Let's say the next Raw or SmackDown that comes on, Daniel Bryan comes out. Now he can create a whole new story that's like, man, I think I have to start from the bottom of the roster again.
Mhm.
I think I have to go through every person on this roster to prove it to myself that I know who I am. I had someone who's not even on this roster throw me out of the ring and build it like that. Now we can see Brian, now we can see Daniel Bryan start from the bottom of the roster and work his way through the whole roster, and that is a great title build from there.
So why do you think they don't do something like that? Like, I mean, it seems like so simple on paper to do, but for
I
whatever
think
reason,
the
and they
reason
had
why they
two Royal
don't
Rumbles. They could have done it for at least one of them.
And the reason why I feel like they don't do stuff like that is I feel like because the WWE is so far booked in advance, they're not worried about what we're seeing now. To them, they've planned that years ago. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Not literally like the nooks and crannies or the details, but I mean like the actual overall view that they want the WWE to have.
Okay.
With exceptions of injuries and stuff might come up. Someone might get an actual natural reaction or natural push from the actual universe. And they have to jump on it right then and there. So I think a lot of the times what we're seeing is a rewrite to a plan that was put in place a long time ago. So,
Okay.
it's kind of like when you reheat up leftovers, it doesn't taste as good as it does the first night.
I don't know, man. Pizza tastes really good cold. I'm just saying.
Hey, did you reheat it up though? Or did you
This
eat it
this
how it
is true.
was?
This is a valid point, bro. Soda on point.
I'm
All right,
telling you,
Soda.
man.
Let's hit this Roman Reigns and Brock
You don't want
Lesnar
to go there.
debacle, bro.
You don't want to go there.
Lay it on me, man. Bleed. Lay it on me.
I'm
What
tired of
didn't you
Roman
like
Reigns,
about
man.
this, man?
This is what I'm tired of. If you're gonna have Brock Lesnar win, I don't want to hear Roman Reigns utter the words "Universal Title" out of his mouth another day in my life. I feel like at this point, let's let's give the title to someone else,
Hmm.
or if we're gonna keep it with with Brock, let's give him someone else to feud with for the time being, and let's just let this feud die, man. I think it just needs to just die at this point. It's kind of like we're just literally poking an injured animal. It's like, why? There's no point anymore. He's lost so many times. No one really likes Roman besides females and true Roman fans from back in the day. He's
Okay.
not getting any more organic push where people are growing to like him as a true man should. you know, Air quotes for people who are listening to the podcast. So I just think, he just needs to relax from that. I think Roman needs to come back down to the mid card just for a couple of months.
Okay.
I think he
Well,
needs to just rebuild his fan base again and rebuild his self again. And let's give someone else to Brock. Let's let that person take the belt from Brock. And then if Roman wants to move back up, then hey, it's a whole nother picture that we're looking at. But I even think they shouldn't even give that number one contender to him if someone else picks up the title. I think it should run through a couple of contenders and maybe even a couple of title changes before he gets back up there. I feel like we just need to forget that the last 4 years have ever happened.
Harsh words from a man Soda, man.
No, and I wouldn't mind if he grabbed the belt. I wouldn't have mind if he got the belt. I have nothing against the guy as a wrestler. I mean, if you like him, you like him. If you want to put him as that guy, put him as that guy. But don't shove him down our throats to make him that guy.
Let me ask you a question, man. It's totally related but unrelated at the same time. Did you go to the Royal Rumble last year in San Antonio?
No, I wanted to, but I had to work.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. That crowd was so vicious, so vicious at the end of that match, man. The end of that Royal Rumble match. You're right. Something's got to change with Roman Reigns. It's not just San Antonio. It's not just Philly. It's not just Knoxville. It's, you got it from Canada as well. And it's not working. At the end of the day, it's not working with him, and you're doing a disservice to him and his job. His job is to put butts in seats and sell merch. But
Enzo sells more merch than he did.
Yeah, and Enzo sells more merch than he does. What's his name? Rusev Day is selling more shirts than him. The New Day sells more shirts than him. You're doing this man a disservice, man. So I agree. I don't want to see Brock and Roman. I think we can say unequivocally and universally, no pun intended, we don't want to see this ever again.
No. I mean, maybe a grudge match 5 years from now, if they're both still wrestling.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe Roman's actually has the title now. Brock just made his return. And Roman's like, you know what? All those years you squashed me. I'm the top guy now. I'm going to show you that I'm ready. I'm going to show you that I can finally put you. And I wouldn't even mind if Roman retired Brock at that time, because it would be in continuity. Right. I just, don't want to see it now.
There you go. Well, let's just hope that after Backlash, they do something new and something different, man. Going into Raw, it was the highlight of Raw, I think, had to have been the Canadian crowd. That's hence the reason why I titled, this episode the way I did. Canada was just on point, man. And it wasn't like they were trying to take over the crowd or take over the program. They were legitimately voicing their opinion on Monday and on Tuesday. And I thought it was fantastic.
I like the crowd. I feel like the crowd gave them their all,
Yeah.
So I feel
almost
like
every segment, it was insane.
Everything. And usually by the third hour, most crowds are already done, which I think Raw needs to go back to being 2 hours, man.
I agree. It's working great with SmackDown.
I want to see less of the wrestlers every, week. Maybe switch it off. Maybe give me one of them every other week. Give me, every 3 weeks, bring them out. Switch it up. Make me miss some people. Give it an actual build. I'm not going to get excited for Shinsuke and AJ if I see it every week. I'm not going to get excited for, Roman and Brock if I see it every week. Like, give me some time to miss the matches.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, man. I think 3 hours is much. I watched the Hulu cut, just background. I watched the Hulu cut of Raw most of the time, which the editors do a terrible job of cutting up Raw. Just saying, but the condensed version is often better overall than watching the entire 3 hours series of Raw. On SmackDown, the only difference on SmackDown on the Hulu cut literally is that you just don't get commercials, and that's it. You get everything else you need. And if Raw had that format, I think that it would just be a better product overall. It's a time sink, a very big time sink, a very big time commitment. I mean, it only gets worse during football season, which is coming up.
Yeah.
But what else did you like about Raw?
So, I mean, we could start off with the rowdy little rowdy promo that happened at the beginning. We could just start from the top, man.
Yeah, man. Like,
Oh man, that rowdy promo from the beginning was just nasty, man. They really gave it to him.
I no, I totally agree, and I think that's what he needed. Hopefully, this will that was like the parting shot. Or just I feel bad for the guy. Like literally out of the entire time that I've been mostly critical of the way that they've kept this character, but I just felt bad for him because, and I know he's getting paid to do this, but like nobody likes his character, and that's got to take a toll on you, man. Like that's the level of hate. That goes beyond heat. That's like hatred. Like go away.
You know what I don't like either? I
What was
don't
that? So
like this. I said something I don't like either is I don't like what the WWE give us the prediction for the main event. Like I don't, or not even the main event because it was the semi-main event. You know what I mean? But I just don't want a prediction into the match.
I gotcha. Oh,
I don't.
and sometimes they even go as far as predicting it every segment, and that's annoying.
It's like friend comes to help, other friend comes to help, another friend comes to help. Woo, we got a tag match. Like
6-man tag. Holla, 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 holla.
like the minute all six of them were in the ring, I literally looked at my girl and I said, "We're gonna have a 6-man tag tonight." I said it's gonna be for the main event, and I was shocked that it wasn't. I was
Yeah.
really shocked it wasn't.
I'm glad that it wasn't. I thought they made the right call. Like the Intercontinental belt for the past 4 or 5 months has been the belt for the show. So it's good that they ended that way.
Spoiler alert! I heard they're trying to redesign that coming soon.
Oh man,
I heard we're
it's
getting
fine the way that
new
it is.
mid card belts.
Oh no, don't tell me that. I did like Sammy's Sammy and KO coming out with and speaking French. I loved it. I thought that was amazing, and I'm surprised the gender didn't either. Like I felt like he should have, but I think that would have taken too much heat away from Roman, and they didn't want to do that.
No, I feel like if Gender came out and spoke a language, he should have spoke his native tongue to be more heelish and kind of been like, "Oh, you don't understand what I'm saying? Only royalty that follows the modern day Maharaj, can understand what I say." Like, play it like that. Give me like a true heel if you're gonna play that. I just want the E to just do it better, man. Just do it better.
I feel you, man. I literally marked out during that entire segment, man. I thought it was just 15 minutes of greatness on the screen to start the show. Straight fire. And honestly, I think that would have been better instead of having a 6-man tag that they had a gauntlet match, one after the other, beating down Roman Reigns. I thought that that's where they were gonna go with it, but we ended up getting a 6-man tag. But oh well, man. Bobby Lashley comes out. So briefly, how do you feel about Bobby Lashley's return, man?
I feel like he's not being utilized. I feel like his return was a waste because he came back not doing nothing. But it's because I hate. No, I don't hate. I'm 50-50 when it comes to Raw after Mania debuts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because after the Raw after Mania debuts, you get the superstar shakeup. So if someone's getting shooken up, or if they already have to plan for that, when someone makes a debut and they're not put straight into a storyline, you automatically go to think that they're going to be exchanged or traded to the other brand. And when Bobby Lashley came out, he really didn't come out with the feud. He really didn't come out with any plan whatsoever. And what has he done since he's been back?
He hasn't talked, I'll tell you that. So maybe they're saving him for after Backlash. Like after Backlash.
So can we just get his return after Backlash?
I agree. I agree. I think that the brands won't really start to do their reset after WrestleMania until after Backlash. So I think their whole thing, I think the GRR was more of a, how do you say, it was a hiccup. I think that it kind of put a hiccup on everything because they did that deal really, really late into
Hmm.
2000. Usually they do this a year in advance, and I think that this was done like finalized within the last 3 or 4 months. So, um, you know, 2018 is starting off. We've gotten pretty much everything that we wanted. We've got DB return. We've got Shinsuke and AJ. We got AJ and Shinsuke, or heel Shinsuke, which we didn't think that we liked or that we were gonna like, and we did.
That's the best
Um,
thing that's ever happened to Shinsuke.
I agree. I totally agree. But yeah, man, I think 2018 is going to be a great year for wrestling fans. Fast forwarding just a little bit, the main event, Finn versus uh, Finn versus Seth Rollins. How'd you like that?
I love every time those two get into the ring. They are what I like to call amazing superstars, and it's for this reason alone. Whenever I see them in the ring, their match is never the same.
I agree.
It's never the same. Now, some of the spots and some of the high points might be the same, but that's because that's their moveset. So you expect to see that. And they've been feuding for so long. So you expect to see the counters, them using each other's movesets, them, constantly doing the same things. But it's never, the energy's just never the same.
I
And I think
agree.
that's what makes it so great. And I think that this match was so good because you really thought that Finn was going to come out on the top on this one. Now, I knew in the back of my mind it wasn't going to happen because it's just too soon for Rollins to lose the belt. It's
Oh,
just too
especially
soon.
it's got a pay-per-view coming up too against the
Yeah.
Miz. So
Yeah. It's just way too soon. It's just way too soon. So,
yeah,
you know,
Finn needs a belt, man. I mean,
I think he doesn't. And I say this a lot about a lot
he's
of people,
floundering, man. He's floundering.
but I don't think he needs a belt to do it. I think he just needs a proper feud.
But who else are you gonna put him on the roster with besides Rollins, man? I mean, the only one that we want to have, I think that universally we want to see with or without the belt is him against Brock Lesnar, but that's never going to happen. I have my suspicions on why that is, but I, I just, I don't know who else you're going to put him in the ring with.
That's why he should have been traded to SmackDown.
I
I think
agree.
if he would have been traded to SmackDown, his career would have skyrocketed.
So I think that the wrestlers, not the entertainers, the wrestlers belong on SmackDown, and the entertainers belong on Raw. And for the most part, everybody that's on SmackDown are are wrestlers, not entertainers. Um,
I just, and I think it just needs to be reversed. Just because Raw has been raw. Like you hear Raw, I want to see some gutter. Like I I'm all for factions. I think we need to bring one big faction back. If not bring it back, I think we need to create one big one heel, huge faction and just run through Raw. I think that would give Raw the excitement it needs. And let's just
well,
take Roman Reigns. Let's send him home for a little bit. He just needs to go home, give him the mumps again,
but
send him
that
home
might
for
be the
like the next
faction.
year.
But he might be the faction that you need, man. Like literally, they could bring
So
back the
I
Wild
actually
Samoans, man.
no, I actually have a fantasy booking that I want for Roman. And I
Okay.
want them to bring over him. I want them to bring Tamina. I want them to bring the Usos. And I want them to pretty much call themselves like something along like the dynasty or the bloodline or
The Wild
something
Samoans,
like something like that. And I just want them to be like Roman's the ringleader. The Usos are like the hands, like the foot soldiers, and Tamina's the foot soldier that runs through the whole women's division. Like I just want them to be like that and kind of make it where they're the pure blood of the WWE. Because if it's not for Samoans, who do you have? McMahon's. So if you're not a McMahon, you're not a Samoan. You're not going far in the E. So
I agree, man. Survivor Series would be the perfect place to battle that out too, man. If we could get that, but I don't know, man. Who knows?
Maybe
Switching
this could be
to
the start of it. Maybe Roman could be like, man, I'm tired of my booking. I'm tired of all these matches. I'm tired of the way
they gotta
WWE
turn
has
him
done
heel,
it.
man. They
You
have to
turn
have
him heel.
confidence to turn him heel and let him talk off the script.
How about we just don't have him talk?
This is, but he has someone's got to be a mouthpiece of the group, bro.
Okay, so why don't we just have Paul Heyman flip on Brock and go to Roman?
Well, you know that's never gonna happen, man.
You know that was a rumor that was going to happen at WrestleMania.
I agree. I don't know how much validity there was to it, but I heard the rumor too.
Not much.
But yeah. we saw how that turned out, man.
and going back
to
the greatest Royal Rumble, and something that it ties in with the Raw that I really didn't like, going into that Roman stuff too, is this Braun Strowman and this title belt. It's like he gets a title belt.
Surprise.
So when he comes out, I'm expecting him to come out with the title belt and say, you know what, this proves that I'm the number one contender to the universe. Use the title belt. Like, if you gave it to him, give him a purpose.
No, I agree.
I just feel like they didn't give him a purpose. He didn't show the belt, and he's in a 6-man tag match. Like, what are we doing?
Saving Roman Reigns, bro.
Like, what are we doing? And then, hello, WWE, continuity. Roman and Braun almost killed each other a whole year ago, and now they're friends? Continuity. That's all I ask from the WWE. If it's two things, it's continuity, and just do it better. I
feel you, man. One thing that they are doing better, man, is SmackDown. SmackDown does it better every week. That's my personal opinion. But how'd you feel about SmackDown?
So going into SmackDown, let me explain. There's 4 highlights that I want to touch on SmackDown that really excited me.
Let's go.
The first one is Paige and Absolution. I'm just happy that we finally got it. I'm happy that we finally got the endpoint to Absolution. I feel like when the trios of the female, factions rose up to the main roster, I feel like they weren't given a purpose.
Nope.
So now that, Mandy Rose and Absolution have gone over, I feel like, and Paige has cut that and nipped it in the butt, I think now we can get some real wrestling out of them too.
Now, a lot of that was derailed because of the fact that Paige was injured, and they didn't want to come out and say it until after WrestleMania to not overshadow Daniel Bryan. But
I don't think they should have gave Paige that group to begin with.
Did you see her first match, man? It wasn't pretty.
Well, this is why I say it. The reason why I say I don't think they should have gave Paige that group is because when that group debuted, all we cared about was Paige. So you already bury the other 2 off top.
Yeah, but the other 2 needed a mouthpiece. Neither one of them can talk, or at that point could talk on the mic. So it made logical sense to put them with someone who was there. And Paige has been out of wrestling for almost 18 months. So you don't want to immediately put her in the ring, or and I still to this day feel like they should never have put her in the ring that early. They should have eased her in. That bump that she took, the end of her career, man, like that could have all been avoided if they would have eased her into wrestling as opposed to just coming back cold turkey.
Well, I feel like if they were going to bring her back, they should have brought her back with Bayley. I think she should have came in and said, yep, I think she should have been the one to turn Bayley heel.
That would have been great. I like the way you think.
Like, she's like that. Like when you go to high school and you just get mixed up with the bad crowd.
So Soda had a bad experience in high school, man. Tell us about it, bro.
Man, I was whack in high school, bro. I was whack. I tell everybody, bro.
All the dreams are coming back, bro.
In high school, I was that kid that didn't have nowhere to sit at lunch, bro. I was super whack.
Now you're on top of the world, so we don't worry about that no more, man.
Oh, I'm chilling now, bro. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Catch me at a wrestling event and see how people treat me. It's totally different.
That's funny stuff, man. We didn't get the Bludgeon Brothers this week, which was I actually like that. That
I like that too.
I
I
thought
feel
that
like
that was
everybody needs a
interesting.
break.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. The what else do we have? We had oh
Another thing that I
man.
wanted to touch. I
Yeah, what you
love
got?
that Ruby Wright is finally getting a push.
I thought I don't think she was ever pushed from her run. I mean, she took a loss from Charlotte, but that was to be expected. But she ran through the rest of the horsewomen like fine. What
Yeah, but I feel
you
like
mean,
it's
like
the
more of
way
a
they did it.
spotlight?
Yeah, I feel like it's the way they did it. You know, all of her matches were kind of like early on in the night, not really
Hmm.
like looked at. Some of them were opening matches when they first came up. You know, I just finally feel like they're actually giving the Riot Squad an actual place on SmackDown now. You know, they're actually doing stuff. You know, being proper heels and interfering with matches on the side. You know, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Liv Morgan, I'm a huge fan of. Um, and I
Nah,
just,
man.
man, I think Ruby's starting to grow on me too.
I love Ruby, man. I've loved her from her indie scene, all the way up to NXT, and that Riot kick on the top rope is just like amazing. I love it. Um, the to me, and this is just my opinion, Sarah Logan stole my heart for wrestling in the women's division from the very first time that I seen her at what was it, the Mae Young Classic. And what I mean by that is like she's she's captivating in terms of her ring ability, but very underutilized like crazy. She can go, like literally she
Hmm.
can go, but they won't let her go. That match with Charlotte, yo, that wasn't Charlotte that was controlling that entire match. That was Sarah Logan.
No, was it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was.
was. Yeah. So she was just. I mean, she controlled that entire match. She sold very well made. She. I've never seen Charlotte look that great in the ring from from selling at all. Than Sarah Logan, and I can't wait till the day till they get behind her. I just hope that it's not until the War Raiders come up that she shines. I hope it's sooner than that.
Well, another thing I want to talk about on SmackDown that I would like to hit on is I hope we don't break up Rusev Day, man.
It's looking like it, man.
I
It's
know it is, but I think the best thing that happened to Rusev was getting him away from Lana. And the reason why I say that is because Lana, as an attractive woman to be a valet towards him, and she gets most of the heat. I feel like that takes away from his wrestling ability because now we don't overlook that because all we care about is Lana on the side of the ring, but also because he's not growing as himself.
I agree. And
He's depending on Lana.
I thought the Canadian crowd hit on it very well. And mad props to everyone that was out there in Montreal. Or was it Montreal or Ontario? I think they were in
I think it was
anyway.
Ontario. I
Okay.
think Montreal was Monday.
Okay. But yeah, shout outs to them, man. Cause like,
No, actually, it was Montreal on both days.
oh, it's on both. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So shout out to Montreal, man. Cause when they saw it come, like they saw it happening right before they even started to say a word, and they booed the hell out of it like crazy.
Mhm.
We don't want to see like you hit on it. Lana overshadows Rusev because of her attractiveness, but Aiden English compliments Rusev in a way that nobody else has. Like he doesn't overshadow him. There's enough heat on Aiden English to keep him heel, but just enough to make Rusev Day so popular.
Mhm.
Um, and I think the big payoff isn't in his it isn't in his check. It's not in his check, it's not in his wallet. It's got to be in that title, man. He's got to have a title run. And I mean, they're not going to give the U.S. title. The U.S. title is going to be, Jeff's going to be carrying that for a while.
You think so?
I, I think so, man. I mean, I think
I
it'll
don't
be
think
bouncing
so.
around between him and somebody else, but it'll be revolving around him for the majority of the year. Um, but it's just sad because, like, where do you put Rusev from there?
See, I don't know. I just I feel like the next shakeup we have, if they kill Rusev Day here, which is what's most likely going to happen, I think the next best thing for Rusev is to write him off TV if they kill Rusev Day. Write him off TV. Let us miss him. Bring him back next year during the Superstar shakeup and split him with Lana. I need both of them to be on different brands.
But they'll never do that. They don't split up couples ever
I know they
on the
don't,
roster.
but they need to.
No, I'm in agreement with you. But we don't
That
want to
or
see Lana
give.
wrestle though. Like we don't.
I think. Why can't we write Lana off TV? She has no purpose.
She brings in the viewership for Total Divas, man.
So they make her a manager for somebody, but make her a manager for the women's division. Make her the manager for Absolution.
I like that. Or have her feud with Paige in some type of
Over control
over control.
for Absolution.
I like it.
What would be nice is have her feud with Paige and making manager decisions on SmackDown. So like every time he makes a match, he comes in behind her and goes, "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. What do you think about this?" And it's like an utter absurdity that no one wants to see.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point, man. Like, I absolutely think that they need to keep them as far away and separate as possible. Um, those are some freebies, WWE. If you listening to this podcast, we just hit you up with some knowledge, some tips right there. Let's get it done.
Tell them to hire you, bro. Director right here. Don't let me have a promotion, bro. Don't let me have a promotion.
He's gonna take over. So he's gonna take over the world, bro.
No. I'm too cool with promotions. Okay, don't do that. You go. I get a lot of perks. I'm gonna get into it, but no, we're gonna do that.
So let's finish this thing up with let's finish up SmackDown with the with AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura and then Joe and the foil. I thought that was interesting. I liked Joe's insertion, in the background, and I liked the subtle chance of TNA going on in the background. How are you liking this feud and this build up and this insertion of Joe?
So if Joe's going to be inserted, this is what I would like to see. I feel like Joe and AJ are too opposite of too perfect. AJ is like super, super, super babyface at the moment. And Joe, even though he just came back, we all love Joe, so we cheer for him. But his true character is a great heel. And I feel like they're just too much alike. It's kind of like the Cena and Orton feud from back in the day, where it's kind of like you're literally looking at Batman versus Joker. So if this is where E is going for, I would like to see Shinsuke get the belt and then feud with Joe for the belt for some time. Just because it adds a different dynamic. They're two different wrestlers. It's exciting to watch. It's unpredictable. Whereas if I feel like Joe and AJ get into a ring, AJ's a strong style wrestler. Samoa Joe's more of that, mix with jiu-jitsu, time. He does a lot of stuff for his size, and I applaud for it. I just think him and AJ fight a little too similar to be in the ring. But on that note, it's just them because Rome almost basically the same, but it works. Where with these two characters, it just doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting if Shinsuke drops the title, or not Shinsuke, but Joe drops the title, or AJ drops the title to Shinsuke. We could that would be a perfect time for AJ to feud with Cien Almas going, seeing as though he's coming. I think that would be a great match for him, or even a great
I don't
feud
think
for
that
him.
I don't think that's where he needs to start. Though.
You think that's too high up in the totem pole?
I think, well, and not that it's too high up because I feel like they both honestly deserve it. More Cien Almas just because he does it as being that wrestler coming up from NXT. But I just feel like if AJ loses the belt, I feel like you have to rebuild him up again. So if you bring in Cien Almas, you're gonna bury one or the other.
But I think that's exactly what we need for AJ. Like, we need AJ to sink to the lowest of the lows, and what better person to help facilitate that than Selena Vega?
But why does he need a? I don't feel like I feel like the answer to everything is if someone loses the belt, they need to be gone for a little bit. And the reason for that is that it's because you're just fresh off of a loss from losing the belt. Even if it's not an injury, just be gone for a month. But just because the wrestling world and the E moves so quickly,
Yeah,
and things are changing so constantly, I feel like a month is just good enough for us to forget you lost your belt.
yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But we know these guys work like 300 days out of the year, man. So
They
it's
need
gonna.
it.
I agree. I agree. They need that extra time off, but I don't think the E wants to do that in their plans. But we'll see, man. Like I said, I think that after Backlash, things are going to start changing in terms of storylines and whatnot. So, but fast forwarding, this Sunday we have Backlash, which is going to be our first co-branded pay-per-view between both SmackDown and Raw. Theoretically, it's not, because WrestleMania is still a co-branded pay-per-view. But I digress. Let's get into some of these predictions.
The greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so is the greatest Royal Rumble. That's right.
Botchamania.
This guy. All right, so let's, in no particular order, let's go ahead and get into these. Goose is gonna plug in his shout outs. So I'm gonna probably plug them in right now. So if you're hearing this on the podcast, on the audio podcast, Goose should be coming in right about now. So with that being said, Soda, we're gonna go with Charlotte versus Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Who you got? How's it going to play out, and why?
Okay, so I'm going to give you both my answers. Who do I want? I want Charlotte. Who do we need? Carmella.
I am in total agreement with you, man. I think
I like Charlotte. I mean, she deserves the belt. I just feel like she's held the title for so long. I think we just need to freshen up. And I think Carmella's a good transition wrestler to transition that title over to somebody.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. While Charlotte had the title, she didn't really defend it very much. I think she had maybe 2 actual title matches while she was the SmackDown champion. I wholeheartedly think that the whole point was to have this transition it over to someone else. And the last thing that we want is Charlotte to go through the roster. Much would rather Carmella win this. Yeah, again, much rather have Carmella squeak out victories for a couple of months before giving it over to a legitimate contender. So I'm with you on that, Soda. I've got Carmella winning that one. Next on the list, we have Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Who you got?
Okay, so who do I got?
Who you got?
I think the E is going to have Sami and Kevin win off of some heel type stuff. But I think who really needs to win is Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley needs to get some momentum going in, after Backlash. And Braun Strowman just needs to keep that momentum going because he was buried after that whole Roman Reigns feud that he had. He came out as such a great babyface after that. They just haven't done anything with him. And I think that, this win could really give both characters a really good push after Backlash, where Sammy and Kevin, win or lose, they're going to be Sammy and Kevin. I feel like that's just where they're at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
And what would
Kevin,
it do for Braun Strowman's character if you have Kevin Owens or Sammy pin one or the other?
I think KO and I think Cammy's gonna win this one, man. I do. I think that during the Greatest Royal Rumble, we had shades of a Bobby Braun Strowman feud. They mixed it up a couple of times in the ring. So I think that that's going to be Bobby's first program is against Braun Strowman. Like his first legitimate singles promo will be with Braun Strowman. So I got KO and Sami Zayn for the win. And you know, they were greatness this week. I'll just say that they're greatness this week. Transitioning to the next championship match, we have Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton for the United States title. Who you got and why?
I want to say Randy Orton's going to get it back just because of the push that he's just been having on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I think they want to do that. I think the only reason Jeff got it was just to transition the belt over, and they're trying to get Matt and Jeff far away from each other just due to that broken universe stuff. And I feel like, if the E does this very smart, if the E does this very, very smart, where they give Randy the belt, let him be a transition wrestler for the belt, but Jeff Hardy goes off and does this thing, and since it's co-branded pay-per-views, every pay-per-view going into next WrestleMania, he just becomes a little bit more Brother Nero. A little bit more Brother Nero. Just because Matt and Bray are able to just touch him a little bit during those co-branded pay-per-views. But it doesn't happen so quickly because he's not with them so much.
I like that. That's a very interesting dynamic there. I do think that the overall arc will be Brother Nero coming into or Jeff Hardy coming into the Brother Nero. And hopefully we get some Itchweed too, man, because that's really what I want to see. Itchweed. I don't know about you, bro. I want to see Itchweed. But with that being said, I actually have Jeff Hardy retaining the belt. I don't think that this program is going to I don't think it's going to fizzle out as quickly as possible or as quickly as Randy just winning it. I think that maybe Jeff keeps it for at least another month before he actually drops the title out to somebody else. So got Jeff Hardy for the win on this one. Next matchup, we got Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Who you got, bruh, and why?
I think Nia Jax is going to keep it. I hope she keep it, even though I'm a huge Alexa Bliss fan. So I'm always going to root for her for the win just because I'm her fan. But I think that she doesn't need a belt anymore. I feel like she's built up her superstar, aura or her superstar realm around her that she doesn't need a belt anymore. I think she could go off and wrestle, and win or lose, she'll, at the end of the day, be Alexa Bliss. I think she's that good in the ring and on the mic that she doesn't need a belt at this moment right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Nia does retain the belt. The only thing is that, like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking who on the Raw women's side is going to take the belt off of her.
Tamina's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, if they trade her, that would be something.
She wasn't noted. She wasn't noted, but she also wasn't noted that she stayed either.
That's just true. But that would mean that they have to give her an actual push. And, we saw on SmackDown that they tried to give her a push, and then for whatever reason, they just didn't come to fruition. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. We didn't see Ember Moon this week. So I don't see where she's going to fit in the grand scheme of things.
I think her debut was wasted as well. Just FYI.
I agree with her not being, but again, this might just be because of the whole GRR kind of put a monkey wrench in everything. we'll see what happens after Sunday. Hopefully, if we don't see her by Sunday, or I'm sorry, if we don't see her by Monday of next week, then I agree with you. It was a total waste,
Total
man.
waste.
Yeah. I know that we didn't touch on this during us going through SmackDown, but Daniel Bryan and Big Cass are going to have a match.
Yeah, yeah,
And the promo was the cast. It was decent. Not the greatest of
yeah.
promos.
With that midget.
Yeah.
Or,
um,
or, or if we have anybody who has dwarfism that's listening to the podcast, if that offends you, I sincerely apologize.
there you
You
go.
know, if we're
We
not
love
using the
everybody,
proper
man.
terminology, I love everybody. It's nothing against you. You know, I just, want to clear my bases. I don't mean it in a disrespectful manner at all.
It's
So,
all good, man. We're all wrestling fans at heart, man. But yeah, the Big Cass is starting to grow on me. I like the fact that he's getting as far and distant away from his gimmick with Enzo.
mhm.
Still
But
needs
he's
a
still
little bit
going
more
back
work.
to it though.
He is. He was regressing back to that, which I didn't like. But the crowd gave it to him, man, and I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. Not sure who's gonna win this one because I can actually see it go both ways. But what do you think, Soda? Who you got?
I think Brando's gonna take the win out, but I think it's just gonna be an overall close match, just so that way they don't kill the big cast return. It's not gonna be like a squash match or Daniel Bryan wins. I wouldn't say clean because of course he's gonna win clean because he's a baby face,
Yeah.
but more of just winning, you know, easily in visual sense. I feel like it's going to be a really close match, but Daniel Bryan's going to come out with the win just so they don't tarnish the Big Cass character. Because I feel like SmackDown is really giving him that push that they really want. And I think this is the start of the feud, not the end of it. So,
I agree, and I think this is actually well. I don't agree with your pick, but I agree with your logic. I think with this one here, Cass is going to be the stepping stone to get to the Miz, and I think that either the Miz somehow interferes and costs DB this match, or Big Cass, um, Big Cass has some type of cheap antic and he actually squeaks out the win and victory. I agree that I don't think this is. I think this is the start of their feud. I don't think it's the ending of it. I don't think it's one and done. Um, but in order to have a solid rubber match, Cass has got to come out on top first. So,
well, let me explain something about this feud to begin with. One, where did it even come from?
it
What is the storyline behind this? Like really, what is it really?
it's it's flawed. They try to make chicken salad, man. I mean, they basically said, and I can see this. They basically said that, hey, I came back at the same time as Daniel Bryan did, but I didn't get the same reception. The only problem with that logic is that one, you were on Raw, not SmackDown, and two, you ended or your career got held while you were a heel, not a face. So why would anybody want to cheer you
Care.
on your return, right?
Exactly. And then
So
that whole thing with Enzo happened. So it's not like we're going to still care for it to begin with.
And I agree. And if you listen to the podcast and you didn't hear our explanation as to why Enzo or Big Cass didn't address Enzo last week in his promo, y'all go ahead and check out episode 73 as we covered that. But I agree. Like it's the promo wasn't well written. I won't say it wasn't delivered. I thought the delivery was fine. I just don't think that it was well written or like it had too many holes in it, man. Why should we care about Big Cass if you turned him heel? Like if he was a face and he came back to turn heel, that I can see. It would have made a lot more sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I get it. They try to make it work. Some things you just gotta overlook, man. It's wrestling.
True, true. But I feel like if they if they give Daniel Bryan the lose here, I feel like that'll just kill all the momentum that we've just been working for.
I agree. I agree. Good stuff, man. Next up, we got Seth Rollins versus Miz for the Intercontinental title. Who you got, bro?
I think I think Rollins is gonna retain. Just for a couple of reasons. I feel like the E isn't gonna do the whole two belts on one show, two mid card belts on one show, unless they're gonna introduce a new belt. But I don't see that happening. The only thing that I would like is if Miz wins and comes over, then that means we have a mid card belt coming up. If the mid card belt comes up, I'm ready to see my man Pete Dunne.
Okay, I like that. Pete
And that
Dome,
introduces
baby.
and that introduces a whole new belt, a whole new mid card belt to the scenario, which replaces the Intercontinental belt, on Raw. So I'm okay with seeing that if that happens. I feel like that gives SmackDown it's it makes it better. It'll still be better than Raw, but I feel like Raw will have something new and something fresh. And Pete Dunne, I
There you
think Pete
go.
Dunne's just ready to come up, man. I think his time at NXT is just over. They're not even really using him anymore. Besides that whole Dusty Road Classic thing that was going on, but I don't even think he shouldn't have been in that either.
Dude, he's yeah, I mean he was just definitely a stepping stone for Roderick Strong to go into the new era, shock the system. I can't think of the
Undisputed Era.
undisputed era. There you go. Can't think for a second there, but I agree. I mean, he's actually been everywhere, man. He's been on SmackDown. He's been on Raw. He's been on 205 Live. He's been on NXT. It's time. If they're not going to make a UK version of Raw, week after week, which I thought the UK title was meant for that. Since that's not going to come to fruition, I totally agree with you. I don't want to see them retire that belt, man, because I absolutely love the design of that belt. It's just going to be a
Are
waste
we,
if they get rid of
are we
it.
talking about the UK belt?
Yeah, the UK belt.
So funny story about the UK belt, man. I've never really been a big belt collector, with like getting, some really high quality replicas and getting stuff of that nature. But that belt and the North American title, man, if I ever get some belts, those are going to be the very first two belts that I ever get.
So, funny story, man. I actually saw your Instagram when you were at the Malls of America, aka Crossroads Mall. And I decided it was one of those little shopettes, but they had a whole bunch of like wrestling
Yeah, my
things.
buddy actually owns it. That's a really good friend of mine.
We're gonna need to hook up there, man, because I actually went there trying to see if they had the UK belt, and they did. I was disappointed they didn't have
No,
it.
but
They
he
had
can
every
get
other
it for
belt,
you, though.
man. Oh,
He
we
can get
can?
it for you.
All right, we're gonna have to get him on the podcast, man. Maybe we'll give him a couple of shout outs here or there, and
Yeah.
maybe give me a discount on
Shout out
the
to the Wrestle
that belt.
Shop, man. The Wrestle Shop.
There you go. The Wrestle Shop. You got a website for them by chance? We'll
Uh,
find
hold
one.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I think I have him on the gram, man.
Okay.
Shout out to my boy Oscar. Oscar's the one that owns the Wrestle Shop. He's actually the ring announcer for RCW here in town.
RCW. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but everybody who's watching this on the YouTube, that's them. I don't know how focused we can get that.
Yeah, it's not going to come in, but go ahead and tell
It's
us
not
what
gonna
are those
come in.
credentials for Oscar? Yeah, tell us those credentials for
So
Oscar.
you can get them on Instagram at wrestlingshop.texas. And they're located at 4522 Fredericksburg Road, Suite B5. Or you can follow Oscar at Oscar underscore. I'm going to spell his last name because I'm not going to pronounce it incorrectly. So it's Oscar underscore ZAMARRON underscore 210.
There you go. Oscar
So,
Zabaramagaba.
so if y'all need some good quality materials, man, and y'all are in San Antonio, you're passing through San Antonio, man, that is my number one spot to go.
There you go. There you go. So who'd you get for Seth versus The Miz?
So I'm gonna go with Seth just because I feel like the E isn't gonna switch the belt over to SmackDown unless they do the whole he returns back to Raw, which I think they wouldn't do because I think they're trying to set up that Miz and Daniel Bryan in the long run.
Yeah. I think
Which I
that it
hope
would,
happens for WrestleMania.
I do. I like the idea of Daniel Bryan chasing The Miz to WrestleMania. I think that that's where it should all culminate. It's for that reason I think that the Miz, in a shocking turn of events, is going to win the title. And I'm hoping they keep it on Raw for 1 week until Kurt Angle says, "Hey, that's our title. You need to come over." Or maybe we get a bidding war between that title and the United States title. But that, I don't know. To me, that would be interesting. Logically speaking, you're probably right. Seth Rollins is, going to retain, just because you're not going to have two mid-card belts on one brand when the other one doesn't have any at all. But
And especially on the 2 hour show, not the 3 hour
yeah,
show. It'd be
I
different
agree.
if maybe they were going to do it on Raw because they have the space to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
But even if it's just for one, like I said, just for 1 week, I think that would be an interesting turn of events, and maybe have a press conference, like they did when they stripped Conor McGregor of his title, saying that, hey, belt's gonna be up for grabs. We're gonna have a some type of gauntlet match or some type of Royal Rumble or something like that to determine the new champion or something. Or Miz comes over. I think that would be interesting, but I digress. The co-main event is likely going to be Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. How you feeling about this match, and who you got? I have a feeling I already know how you feel about the match, but go ahead, Soda. Lay it on us.
so I think Roman's going to win because it's Roman Reigns. I'm tired of seeing him. Um, but I want Joe to win. I think it'll just add more to him chasing the WWE belt. I think it'll give him the momentum he needs, and I think it'll just hopefully he wins so the WWE can keep burying Roman until we can get a refresher of Roman. I'm not a Roman hater. I just want to make sure that that's clear. I'm not a Roman hater. I'm a Roman booking hater. I hate just the way they booked him. I hate the way that they have his character right now. He still dresses like the Shield. The Shield right now is currently not in effect. Give him something else outside of the Shield, just like how Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, I feel like that's the reason why they strive so well as individuals, is because when they're not in Shield, they don't dress like they're in Shield. And
Yeah.
I just think they just do it better. WWE, just do it better.
Soda clinging on to that, man. That's his mantra, man. Do it better. We need to
I'm
get a
not saying
shirt
they're
like that, bro.
I'm not saying they're doing it wrong. They're not doing it wrong. I'm not saying they're doing it bad. I just want them to do it better.
Do it better. um, I'm gonna go with Samoa Joe for the win on this one, man, and it's for only one reason and one reason only. It's because Roman Reigns is a failure. Um, you got Samoa Joe's hot on the heels. Strike with the iron's hot. Maybe this is you put Roman Reigns to sleep, let him have the time off, give an honest look at revamping his character, give him a vacation. He's deserved it. Give him a vacation.
Maybe even injure him. So
Yeah,
that way that writes him off of the Universal title, but it's not really like he lost his opportunity. It's more of like I got injured, so I couldn't go for it no more.
exactly. It gives
Even write him off
validity
with
to.
the injury.
Yeah, I agree. It gives validity to Joe, without tarnishing Roman too much. It is believable that Joe can do that because he has done that. He's put Finn Balor and Rollins out of commission. So let's roll with it, man. Let's roll with that. And then finally, the last match of the night, barring any pre-show matches, we got AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nakamura. Man, I hate the way the announcer on SmackDown says his name.
Shinsuke.
Nakamura. He says it with so much passion.
I like him, man. He does, man. I love it, man. He did that when he was in NXT, man. I appreciate him for it, man. He's a good guy. This one's a no disqualification match, man. Is this the time for Shinsuke to get the title?
I think we spoke about this earlier, if I remember, but yeah, I just feel like Shinsuke is ready for that belt. I think we need a good heel as the WWE champion for quite some time. Let's build up a new baby face on in the roster. You know, maybe San Almas, maybe this is when he comes up, you know, and they have like a little NXT revamp, you know, that'll
Yeah,
work. I wouldn't mind seeing that. You know what I mean?
it definitely gives you the ability to do something new, to refresh storylines, to put AJ with somebody else other than being circulated around the belt. Gives Nakamura a chance to revolve around other people as well. It's not to say they can't come back, Survivor Series ish or after SummerSlam, but yeah, man, I think that a heel Shinsuke Nakamura is is worthy of the championship. It's kind of hard for me to say that, man, just because like I really thought that as a face he was going to get it, but I like this so much better. I like this dynamic so much better.
I hate his entrance music, by the way.
You hate it.
I hate the new one. I like the old one. I hate the new
so
one.
so that this is my theory about the whole thing. Before they actually we actually discussed this on the podcast a couple weeks before they even did it. Um Regardless of the versioning of the song, I felt like when they turned him heel, the first thing that needed to go was the music. Um,
I understand, but not like that.
yeah, it was a little bit of overhaul. I like it per se, but I can see where people don't like it. It took a while. It took me 2 weeks to actually get to like it. I'm a J-pop, J-rock fan. You know, it's not that. Um, I didn't want it to be over Hakushified. And by that, I didn't want it to be like so far Japanese style that it really detrimented the character Shinsuke Nakamura. Because he's not the last thing that we need is a Japanese we hate America kind of gimmick. Like I think that that's what's hindered Asian people for so long to be successful in the E is because that's the only gimmick that they have ever been given in the past. And to have Shinsuke not be that, I think that that's key to us getting better wrestling and better adoption of Japanese stars in the casual market, not the indie markets, because as indies we love Japanese stars. Um, but I think that the music needed to fit that type of character, and that was my whole purpose about it changing. What about do you concede with that,
I
or
just
do
don't
you?
like the words. I just don't like the words. I just don't like how loud the words are.
Mhm.
It. I don't know if it's the announcer or if it's the words. I just hate that they talk at the same time.
Gotcha,
That's
gotcha.
the only thing I hate. And that's just the honest truth. That's the only thing I hate. I hate that they talk at the same time. If you're gonna announce him, wait till the music's over and announce him. I don't want to hear you over the music.
I I feel you, man. Just be silent and let Shinsuke do the rest, man.
I think that's the only. I think that's why I hated it. I think I hated it because that's what happened the very first time that it changed. Is he announced him while his music was going on, and you couldn't really understand. It just sounded like gibberish, and I was like, I did not like that. I think it just kind of left that bad taste in my mouth.
I think that honestly though that the theme music caught everyone by surprise because like literally when I saw it for the first time, I don't know about you, but when I saw it for the first time, I thought they cut to commercial and they were throwing a vignette of Shinsuke Nakamura. And it wasn't until like he literally walked halfway through the aisle that I figured, oh, this is
That's
his
his entrance.
this is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, what
I was like, what's going on?
so
By the way, have you seen that Chronicle on the WWE network of Shinsuke?
I have not yet, but
That makes me like him so much more.
I'm going to be covering that. I usually do like one-off segments. I'm going to cover that in full. But you know what? Since you liked it in full, how about after I finish watching it, you and I, somewhere down the road, we do a little side podcast on it.
Let me know, man. Let me
You
know
up for
if
that?
anybody who hasn't seen it, that's listening to the podcast, go check it out on the E. It will really make you understand who Shinsuke Nakamura is, not just
Yeah.
as a wrestler, but as a human. And it's so much more different. I kind of like that. That's what the E is doing now with the network.
Yeah.
They're
A
giving
little
us a
peek
little
behind the
bit.
camera.
a little peek behind the camera, and that's what I really like.
Yeah, I love it too. I like the Kevin Owens 365. I thought that was really, really well done.
Or the 24 for Finn Balor.
Yeah, the 24 for Finn Balor was pretty good too. Yeah, any chance I get, I'm trying to get us to cover those more. We did the Mae Young Classic, as they were doing that, and that was fun too, especially going through all the characters, with the
Shayna Baszler, that's
bracketology.
my girl.
Yes, but I
Woo!
ain't nothing like Kyrie Sane dropping that elbow, bruh. I love it.
Bro, I'm tired of her. You know that the reason why that she hasn't moved up on the roster yet? I
Which
don't
one?
think they're gonna
Kyrie
move her
or
up on Kyrie. I don't think they're gonna move her to the main roster until Bailey gets a new revamp.
I think it might be.
And the reason why I say that is because they both have the similar finishers. So there's an actual article. I can't remember. I might send it to you later. You could probably plug it down below. But it basically says that the E came to Kari and said that they're not gonna move her up until she finds a new finisher because Bailey does the drop elbow to represent Macho.
Macho
Because
Man.
because that's
Yeah,
what he
but
did, and she likes that. So they won't do that because they're it's too similar in finishers. And if you ever notice, whenever someone has too similar of a finisher and they're on the same roster, they always make someone change it.
yeah,
Always.
that's true. Well, I mean, she honestly, unless they're gonna put Bailey on SmackDown, which I highly doubt, I think if you put Kyrie on SmackDown, you should be fine. I think it's too soon to call her up, not just because like her gimmick is perfect. Like I absolutely like it, love it. Um, but the women division took a really big hit um after WrestleMania. Um, actually, even we can even arguably say the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, we lost like a total of
Mm-hmm.
8 or 9 women from the roster. And we would have probably lost Nikki Cross as well, but I think that they wanted to keep the division strong, so that's why they held her back.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I heard from a couple of inside sources that that's the reason why she got held back as well.
So, but who knows, man? Who knows? But we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and hit these shout outs and then we'll go ahead and close up this show here. Forgive me, guys, if you're listening to the podcast. Like, I might have to pipe in the music later, but I don't have the soundboard. Your boy Goose has it. So, but we're gonna first and foremost, I want to thank my boy Soda showing up, filling in for Goose, that lazy bastard who didn't want to show up.
Hey, I
For
said
duty.
it. I didn't say it. You said it, okay? I didn't say it. You said it. All right.
But first and foremost, I want to thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on here.
No problem, man. Anytime. I'm always, a DM away.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. We'll get your plugs in a bit here, man. All right. So first and foremost, Soda, thanks so much, buddy. We got Wrestling 2.0, Jay Lethal, and Wrestling 2.0. Thank you so much for showing the love. Paige Statutory, thank you so much for showing the love. Renee Young gave us some love. So we appreciate you, Renee Young. We definitely did not like the pre-show during the Greatest Royal Rumble. It was lacking so much charisma, and we wanted to make sure that you knew that. So we appreciate you letting us know that you appreciated us appreciating you, appreciating me, appreciating you. There we go. We got the subject tonight. Roz, Sam at Sam Bullock. That's Bullock with an I in there. Matt Lynch, Michael David Herring. Thank you so much for joining the movement. Your boys at IRWP appreciate you. Cygnus Cabella, appreciate you. We got Lady Rivera. Jeez, this is going to be a lot. Lady Rivera, Jason, James W., Stephen Fink, Paige Stationary, Jessica A. Condi, Storyline, Anthony Hancock, Elise Castro, Robert Anteria, Keela Angela Deliva, Melissa Antu, Celine, Shannon, a lot of lady love here. Me for life with 2 eyes, Nathan Stoke, Roby Stella, Michael Masters, Nate Protejo. I probably slaughtered that, buddy, but I apologize that. The New Era podcast, PAX East, thank you so much. Double E Ramon. We've got Midnight Horror Show. We've got Susan Layton, Ian Williams. Man, you guys are just crazy. Shout out to Sergeant Slaughter who gave us some love as well. We had to call Michael Cole out on saying that Sergeant Slaughter was dead. So we let Sergeant Slaughter know, and he showed us some love, so we appreciate that. That little bonehead, man. Michael Cole being the
I think they should write. Michael Cole just needs to like get rid of.
He needs to go, bro.
Good, man.
Yeah, he does. We got best since day one. We got Marjorie Munoz. We've got Greg Womwell. Smarks to Death podcast. Y'all go check them out at Smark to Death. We have Dio Natividad. My Spanish is terrible today. That's terrible. We have Damon Clayster. We've got Ben Radcliffe. We've got Heel Tim. We have SMM. We've got Benjamin. We've got Jasmine Stoke. We've got Piper, Quarterstone, MA, JK, Claire, Heather Brewster, Erica, AK Zular. Thanks so much for showing the love. The Bro Podcast. We've got the Wrestling Hub. Thank you so much for showing the love, guys. Broken but Glorious. Oh my goodness, Jules. Thank you so much for showing the love. You guys are monsters and beasts. Ramsey Sidow, Cindy McGonigal, Leroy Tall, Mike Palmerino. Thanks so much for showing the love. Diago Durate, Dakota Kai gave us some love for a post that we put out there for Scott Steiner's math lessons. If you guys have not checked him out, y'all go check him out. He's at Ruru Bebe. Scott Steiner's math lessons. Funny guy. Funny guy. And then last but not least, we have WWE GIFs and Stuff. Y'all go follow him at WWE GIFs and Stuffs. Woo! Y'all are beasts. Thank you so much, guys, for showing us that support. Soda, where can our fans find you, man?
So you can find me on Instagram at SodaPopHendrix. The Hendrix part is spelled like Jimi Hendrix. All my booking information is in there in the bio. Just hit that email. DM me. If I can, I'll get back to you as fast as I can. And that's pretty much it. Find me at your local wrestling shows. Take a picture of me, say hi, and that's about it. Let's have some fun. Scream at some people.
San Antonio represents. What are we booking you for, by the way? What can they book you for? Let us know.
I've done everything, man. I've done special guest appearances. I've done, when it comes to promotions, club nights, Sweet 16s. I've pretty much done it all.
There you go. All right, man. Well, again, we appreciate you coming on the air.
No problem.
You guys know it. Y'all check. I
need a T-shirt, bro.
We're gonna get you, bro. We got you, man. We're a little behind.
T-shirt.
We got you. It's coming your way. We promise, man. You guys can reach us at irwp.us. All of our credentials are there, including Real WrestleCast, at Real WrestleCast on Twitter, at Sage the Mark on Twitter, at Ben_Goosing on Twitter. It's Real Wrestling Podcast. IRW or on Instagram, it's Real Wrestling or IRWP feedback at gmail.com, or you can give us a call, guys, 419-777 IRWP. This is your boy Sage the Mark signing off. Y'all know the drill. Keep it real. Thank you guys so much for joining us, guys, tonight for It's Real Wrestling Podcast. Y'all make it special for us each and every week, so we greatly appreciate it. Remember that the thoughts and opinions of the guests are that of the guests and not of IRWP. I'll be sure to make sure to visit our website at irwp.us. Show us some love at IRWP, hashtag IRWP on all your social media platforms. Remember, don't forget to support your boys at IRWP by going to www.patreon.com/IRWP. Thank you so much, guys. See y'all next week. Keep it real.